How we doing, Red Sox Nation? The Red Sox drop a 2-1 decision of the Blue Jays at Fenway to finish up the regular season. We'll put a button on the regular season and look ahead to the playoffs all this week on Red Sox Wrap 360.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
And for last, I want to thank all of you, the fans.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. All of you. Thank you. You guys are the best. Yeah.
What's up, Red Sox Nation? Welcome to another edition of Red Sox Wrap of 360. I'm Mike Conley. That, of course, is David Ortiz's rousing speech in his last regular season game today at Fenway Park. Unfortunately, the Red Sox dropped a 2-1 to Toronto, so they're going to have to go on the road to face the Cleveland Indians. That'll start up Thursday in the ALDS. But what a great regular season it was for the Boston Red Sox. I mean, quite a group. They kind of went out in a limp, limping to the finish line, losing 5 out of their last 6, but that's coming after an 11-game win streak, which vaulted them into contention and ultimately winning the AL East division. So we got to be happy about that. So thanks for tuning in with us. As you can see, I'm all alone today. So if you feel sorry for me, jump into the discussion with me. You can do that on our YouTube page. You just go to youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV and, just click in the Red Sox Wrap 360 icon there and throw us some questions there. But I'll tell you what, it's been a great season for the Red Sox. This humble predictor predict 91 wins, so they end up with 93. So they exceeded even my lofty expectations. And they went from worst last year to first again. And according to Elias, they become the first team ever in Major League Baseball to go worst to first twice in a 5-year span. So, quite an interesting thing there. And, for somebody that, went his first X amount of years in life going without a World Series victory to cheer for, or a World Series champion to cheer for, hey, this is fine. If we go last 3 out of every 5 years, and then the remaining 2 times we win a World Series, knock wood, I'll be a happy camper, and I'm sure you guys will too. So, yeah, if you want to join the discussion, hit the YouTube page, or, if you want to give us a call in studio, we'll do it the old-fashioned way. You can hit us up 424-253-0504. So, 2-1 loss today, and, they faced Toronto's best. Toronto really needed the game. There was a chance that they might not make the playoffs if they lost and Detroit won. So, and then Detroit won again tomorrow if they would have had to play a makeup game. And it's too bad for the Red Sox because they already knew they were in and facing the Cleveland Indians, but they could have made Cleveland play another game tomorrow and potentially burn another pitcher in tomorrow's game if they had just won today. So kind of a missed opportunity for the Red Sox, and it would have been nice to have home field advantage in the ALDS throughout that series, the 3 out of 5 series. But now, hey, they're going to have to go on the road. The Red Sox have been a good road team this year. So one of the highlights from today is they were facing one of Toronto's best, Aaron Sanchez, a guy who, if he wasn't out for a lot of the season, with just trying to slow down his inning because he's a youngster, he would have been in that Cy Young discussion with Rick Porcello. And, because he finished up the year, I think 15-2 with an ERA in the low 3s, 3.08, I believe. But he had filthy stuff today. The kid's filthy. He was no-hitting the Red Sox through 6 2/3 until Manny Ramirez went deep over the foul pole and left. And, it was held up by review because it was like directly over the foul pole. And then, they obviously, John Gibbons came out and challenged or had him take a look at it, and it held up. And interestingly enough, that was Hanley's 30th home run of the year, giving the Red Sox their first trio of players ever with 30 home runs and 100 plus RBIs in the same season. The Red Sox did before have 3 players with 30 home runs in the same series. And actually, if you can tell me what year that was and who those players were, hit me up, like I say on the YouTube page, or give me a buzz. And I'll remind me to give me that answer at the end of the show. Oh, yeah. But hey, it was kind of an anticlimactic week because, they're in the Bronx. They get swept by the Yankees, which is never a good thing. But 2 great things happened for those of us in Red Sox Nation. They clinched the division on a night when they lost, when Craig Kimbrell blew it in the 9th, and Mark Teixeira, former Red Sox draftee, hits a grand slam, walk-off grand slam in that one. So that was a little bit anticlimactic. I was kind of bummed about that, because I was like, I want the Red Sox to go out on a win, and they ended up kind of losing that one and then still celebrating. Let me know if I'm making a mountain out of a molehill on that one and say, just chill, Conley. They're in the playoffs, and that's what matters, and that's what we should be happy about. But they will face the Cleveland Indians. The Cleveland Indians, the fighting Franconas of Cleveland, our old manager, Terry Tito Francona. It'll be good to see him, and there's some familiar faces over there with Mike Napoli. And I believe they have Coco Crisp as well that they acquired in a trade in August. But they're a little banged up. That was a team that really got by a lot this year on terrific starting pitching, and some of their starters are a little dinged up. Carlos Carrasco broke his finger, and he won't be around for this series, or it looks like probably the entire playoffs. Another guy, who else did they have? Corey Kluber left to start the other day, but he looks ready to go in game 2. So it looks like, well, before we get into the ALDS discussion, I do want to put a button on this season and how the Red Sox shake out as far as postseason awards. And I mean, it looks as if it's, when you listen to the pundits, it seems like it's a 2-horse race for AL MVP. And that will be, our stud from the Red Sox, Mookie Betts, versus Mike Trout. But, I mean, there should be a 3rd horse in that race, and that should be David Big Papi Ortiz, who played his final regular season game at Fenway today. And, it's been a long season with Papi, everybody kind of giving him awards and what have you. And it was like quite an extravaganza. They honored him Friday night pregame for all his work he does through the David Ortiz Children's Fund and all his off-field work. Then kind of the sports figures of Boston came out before Saturday's game, and there was a bunch of Patriots and Celtics and Bruins there. And then today, a bunch of his old teammates were there. It was fantastic. A who's who of Red Sox lore. And they had the 3 trophies there that David Ortiz was a huge part of bringing to Boston and breaking the curse in 2004. Of course, his countryman Pedro Martinez brought that out. And the 2007 trophy was brought out by Mike Lowell. And the 2013 trophy was brought out by Johnny Gomes. So you got to love it. It was good to see those familiar faces coming and celebrate the man and the legend, Big Papi David Ortiz, number 34. That number 34, coincidentally, will go up in the rafters. That isn't me pontificating. That was stated today, and they won't wait for him to go into the Hall of Fame, which he ultimately will be the first designated hitter to go into the Hall of Fame because he's the best designated hitter of all time, but it will go up next season, so they won't even wait for that. And that'll be the first number retired by the Red Sox that is from a player that didn't go into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame before it went up in the rafters at Fenway. And, it's well-deserved. I mean, the guy was instrumental, like I said, to breaking that 86-year curse back in 2004, and making this guy right here in front of you a much nicer person in doing so. Big Papi. He did kind of, as most of the Red Sox did, kind of finished the season on a little bit of a downturn in the hits department. They kind of sputtered towards the end, which is unfortunate because this is a lineup that really has been carrying the Red Sox through a lot of the season, and like had to wait for the pitching to catch up, which the pitching ultimately did in the last final 2 months of the season. And the bullpen here in the final month has looked good, despite Kimbrel's implosion. Let's shelf that for a little bit later in the show. But, oh boy, yeah. So he kind of, in the last week, he's only been 2 for 20. So I'm a little alarmed at that. Hand Rams hitting under 100 in the last week. His bomb today, hopefully that kind of gets him out of the schneid. Andrew Benintendi's hit 211 over the last week. Mookie's even only been at 250. So the bats have been quiet. The good news is we have been getting good pitching performances. So as the old saying goes, what counts in the playoffs is pitching. So we'll have to see how that holds up. The Red Sox are going to line up. They're going to throw Rick Porcello out there, and that's well earned in Game 1 on Thursday in Cleveland, followed by Price. And then it's looking like it's probably going to be maybe Clay Buchholz, who really finished the season strong. So we shall see how that shakes out. And then in the Game 4, Eduardo Rodriguez. I don't know if those have been announced yet, but that's probably how they'll go and mix it up. Righty, lefty, I would guess. So as far as postseason awards go, like I was saying earlier, it does seem like all the pundits are kind of saying it's a two-horse race between Mike Trout and Mookie Betts and stuff. But that's just because all the people that vote discount DHs. And so Papi's not in the discussion, but that's ridiculous. He's the best clutch hitter in all of baseball. And when you break down the MVP award, what does MVP stand for? Most valuable player. And who can argue that David Ortiz hasn't been the most valuable player in all of baseball to his team? I know there's a lot of youngins on this team and they're studs and stuff, but can you really tell me that the Red Sox would have won the AL East without Big Papi's contributions this year? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he's at 37 home runs, 124 RBIs. Those are the most anybody's ever done in the final year of his career. He's also had the highest slugging percentage he's ever had of anybody in their final season. So, I mean, just put the guy in there. Had another home run this week that puts him at 541 home runs. That puts him 17th on the all-time list in between Mike Schmidt and Mickey Mantle. So it's pretty ridiculous. And you could just see how beloved he is in Boston, with the rousing ovation thing, and just how many people showed up. All his old teammates. Manny Ramirez was in the house. And, it was great. And the president from the Dominican Republic showed up. So you had the president from the Dominican Republic, the best hitter to ever come out of the Dominican Republic, and the best pitcher to ever come out of the Dominican Republic in Pedro Martinez, all in the same field today. And they even played the Dominican Republic national anthem, which I thought was a nice touch, and unfurled the flag on the Green Monster. It was really, really a fantastic touch. Sorry, I had to take a sip of water there. Flying solo, you get a little parched. Hello. So, to me, it's kind of a little bit of a joke that you're talking about Mike Trout as an MVP candidate. I mean, I think you really should be. If your team isn't even 500, you shouldn't even be in the discussion. Okay, the Angels finished 74 and 88. So when you talk about most valuable player, it's like if they didn't have Mike Trout, don't you think they could have maybe mustered together 74 wins, or at least a fourth place finish? I mean, they only finished 5 ahead of the A's, who finished in the basement. And I know there's precedents set for this, with Dawson for a last place Cubs team, Andre Dawson in 1987, and A-Rod in 03 for a fourth place Rangers team. So there is precedent set. I mean, quite frankly, I really, I was kind of behind the Hawk Dawson one because he kind of had a monster year. But I mean, A-Rod, and then like you can look back at like George Bell, a team that, Alan Trammell kind of got shafted. I really think your team should not only be 500, quite frankly, but you should be eliminated from contention if you're not 500, but just like be in the playoffs, shouldn't you? So, I mean, some other AL MVP candidates that maybe fell by the wayside, an early favorite, Jose Altuve, a guy that's going to win the batting title. But, Betts, I believe, is second in the American League in batting. So, he's right there. He's a stud in like a bunch of categories. I mean, so to me, I go back and forth every day on whether it should be Papi, whether it should be Betts, and ultimately I decide on Papi just because, of the age factor. I mean, I think Mookie Betts is going to be in the AL MVP, discussion for the next 15 years. Hopefully, all 15 of those in a Red Sox uniform. Knock wood. But Papi, I mean, he's going out, and he's going out in style. I mean, a monster year. Nobody else in all of Major League Baseball has an OPS over 1,000. Papi does, and the dude's 40, and he's leading the majors in doubles. He's leading in slugging. He's leading in extra base hits. So it's like, just take a look at this guy and like look past the fact that he's a DH and all that stuff. There's plenty of people that have won the MVP that were subpar defenders, and that was looked past by the voters, by the writers, and this should be another instance of that. I mean, George Bell in 87, I mean, like the aforementioned George Bell, it's like he was never a good fielder. It's like why is he in the mix? And like outfielding, is that really a demanding position? So that could be something that like puts you above, if you're an exceptional outfielder like a Mookie Betts, but it shouldn't really detract from you if you have all that kind of offensive stats. But oh well, let me know what you think about the MVP race. The Cy Young race, if Ben Fay was here with me today, he'd been saying that's a slam dunk because Rick Porcello, he should just win that. He simply should. I mean, I know that wins are kind of an overrated stat, but 22-4, you can't really overlook that. And I mean, it's not like I know he got great run support, but the guy still had a 3.15 ERA in 223 innings. So, I mean, and a 1.01 whip. Plus, he had the best strikeout to walk ratio in the game. And that's if you discount Kershaw, because Kershaw didn't have the minimum amount of innings because he was hurt. But definitely in the American League. And, I mean, what's his stiffest competition? Maybe J.A. Happ, who's a guy that was the only other 20-game winner in all of baseball. He had a nice year, no doubt about it. But, Porcello's got a better ERA than him, and he's got more wins. So that's kind of a slam dunk. And a better whip. So, let me know what you think about Ricky P. And what do you think about, David Ortiz or Mookie Betts? Who you like in that discussion? And also, let me know if you remember who the Red Sox trio was before this season who had 30 home runs in a season. All right? That'll be good. I'll let you know at the end of the show if you don't get it. So you can do that by clicking in on the YouTube chat room or hit me up here in studio 424-253-0504. This is going to be, obviously a great time because we have the calendars in October, so it's a great time for baseball. And so with the win today, Toronto actually becomes the first wildcard team. So they are going to host the Baltimore Orioles. So when we talked about the AL East being really a black and blue division, when we started this show back in April, or March, I guess. Yeah, March. we were talking about it being a tough division, the AL East, and it wouldn't be unheard of if we got 3 teams in the playoffs, and that's exactly what happened. Certainly, none of us really thought that Baltimore Orioles would be one of those teams, but somehow that lineup did what we thought the lineup was going to be doing, but their pitching really held up, and a lot of that has to do with their fantastic bullpen at the end, where they have Brock, an all-star this year in the AL, and also Britton, who's been unconscious, and like I say, possibly Porcello stiffest competition for a Cy Young. So, but their starters held up. They got, Dylan Bundy, a guy who was former #1 overall pick, who's had some arm trouble. He's coming into his own. Chris Tillman, steady as a rock there. And they've even been getting some good pitching lately from retread, Ubaldo Jimenez, who's been pitching for the past month as if it's 2010. Somebody tell him it's 016, and he's not that good. But it'll be interesting. I'm kind of pulling, not that I'm worried either way. There's one team I'm pulling for, and you guys know who that is in the AL. But in that wild card game, it'd be nice to see Toronto pull through in there and see a rematch of Blue Jays and the Rangers, going back to Jose Bautista's bat flip last year. So that kind of ignited the feud they have between those two teams, and which is why Rougned Odor punched Joey Bats in the face earlier this season, and it'd be nice to see them get all chippy and maybe, ideally, beat the crap out of each other, and so go to a 5-game series in that, where they have like bench clearing brawls twice a game, and by the time they get to the Red Sox, knock wood, provided they get past the Fighting Franconas, they're a little banged up and spent. But I will tell you, I mean, maybe this is just my pre-04 Mike Conley coming in. I'm a little bit nervous at the quiet, the bats going a little bit of quiet here at the end of the season. And I'm a little bit quiet about Craig Kimbrell. A little bit worried about Craig Kimbrell. The guy, I mean, he's still a top 5 closer in the game, or at least top 10, so it's good to have one of those. And we didn't really have one of those past couple seasons, not until Koji was being Koji back in 2013. It's good to have Koji back as maybe a little insurance policy, and he's really settled down that 8th inning. So it is good to have him back in there. And like I say, the bullpen has looked good over the past 3 to 4 weeks. So, but tell me if I'm a little ridiculous if I'm say, don't worry about it, Conley, calm the jets, the bullpen's going to be fine. Please let me know about that. Let me know in the YouTube chat room, or hit me up in studio 424-253-0504. Thanks for tuning in, gang. But looking forward, we're going to have Porcello versus Trevor Bauer for them in Game 1. That'll be Thursday. Okay, and unfortunately, we'll have to go to Cleveland to make that happen. And then, like I said, it'll be Price. And they had their, I guess you'd call their ace their staff, and also another AL Cy Young candidate, Corey Kluber. Okay, and he left his last start with some quad tightness or hamstring tightness. So that's why he's not going Game 1 for them. So he's going to pitch a simulated game, I guess, tomorrow, and they're going to see how he's doing. But they are a little banged up in their starting rotation. They're also down Danny Salazar. Carrasco, like I said, who we won't see in this series. Salazar is also, I think, going to pitch a sim game midweek, and they're going to see if he can come back. But there's a potential they will be without 2 of their top 4 starters. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Oh boy, Mike Napoli, member of, as we know, 2013 world champion Boston Red Sox. He's got over 30 homers for them. I think he ended up with 33 homers. So that'll be interesting to see where it shakes out with them. We'll have to pitch around him a little bit. Because when you look at the rest of that lineup, they do have some good hitters. Francisco Lindor, outside MVP candidate. But, he's vaulted in the fact that his team actually won the division. And maybe they kind of look past the stats. But a hell of a young player, only in his 2nd year in the league. So they have quite a team over there, and we all know what Tito can do. pushing the right buttons. He pushed the right buttons for 2 years in Boston in 04 and 07. So, we know it's going to be formidable. And I do want to ask you, where do you think John Farrell, a guy that has been kind of raked over the coals, around the league and really even in Red Sox Nation, where does he stand as far as manager of the year? Could he have a shot? Will he get some votes? Will he finish top 3? Will he win it? Let us know. Give us, if you don't call in tonight or hit us up in the YouTube chat room, let us know on the comment section. And hit us up on that and let us know who you think for all of those awards. We don't have a Rookie of the Year candidate, unfortunately, but if Andrew Benintendi was up the whole year, maybe he would have been in that mix. Next year he will be. But let us know who you like for Rookie of the Year in the AL, MVP in the AL, Cy Young in the AL, and Manager of the Year in the AL. So let us know on that. But some ridiculous years. Interesting to note, against righties, I don't know if you noticed this, folks, John Farrell this week dropped Xander Bogaerts down in the lineup a little bit. So he's no longer hitting 2. They got him down to 6 versus righties. So that was interesting to note. And I wonder, I'm assuming that's going to be the case moving forward. And, that's a guy that was hitting kind of around that 320 mark for a lot of the year. But, after a September where he hit only 239, he's dropped down. I think he finished the year around 294. So, it's still a nice year for Xander, but, not quite a Mookie Betts type year. I mean, just look at the type of year Mookie Betts had. 158 games he played, 122 runs, 214 hits, 42 doubles, 31 bombs, 113 RBIs. Unbelievable. I mean, he hit 318, stole 26 bases. I mean, this guy is filthy. Another guy who hit 200 hits on the Red Sox, Dustin Pedroia, a guy who's absolutely been reborn this season with the Red Sox, clearly having his best year since his MVP campaign in 2008. He also scored over 100 runs with 105 runs and had 15 bombs with 36 doubles and knocked in 74. So he's a guy that's, playing at a high level right now, playing defensively as well. I think I shortchanged Papi earlier. He's actually got 38 homers and 127 RBIs. So, finished the year hitting 315 with an on-base percentage of 401. Just ridiculous numbers. And like I say, that OPS of 1021, nobody else in all of Major League Baseball has an OPS over 1,000. So it is absolute ludicrous the year he is having. Oh boy, I'll tell you. So nobody hit me up with a little trivia question on what was the only other Red Sox trio, other than the trio this year of Betts, Papi, and Hanram, to hit 30 home runs in the regular season. And you have to go all the way back to 1977 to get that one. And that was my personal favorite player growing up, Jim Ed Rice, who had like over 40 that year, I think. And then George Boomer Scott, former first baseman. And then this one was kind of shocking. I was very shocked by this. Butch Hobson had 30 that year. That was actually my sister's favorite player growing up. Shout out to Kathy Martin. But that was the only other time in Red Sox hitting. So this is just another kind of example of, how prolific this offense is for the Boston Red Sox. So we talk all the time on this program about having all the facets in the game, being pitching, starting pitching, relief pitching, hitting, defense. And the Red Sox are towards the top of all these. Certainly they have the best hitting club in all of baseball that we've seen when you look over the whole 6 months of the regular season. And like I say, that pitching's starting to come along. You look at the AL leaders in the second half of baseball, and they are up top in all those categories for that. And like I say, this bullpen is starting to round into form. So if Kimbrel can just stop walking people, because that's when he was at his best back with the Padres, he was not walking people. Not with the Padres, but with the Braves. And then a little bit with the Padres. He was still good then. But boom, 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 boom. I'll tell you what. So Thursday, the AL wildcard game is Tuesday. So keep your eye out for that. That will be Baltimore at Toronto. And then we will get Cleveland come Thursday. And we will have to go to, I think it's Progressive Field now, formerly known as the Jake, in Cleveland to start that one off. So get behind your Boston Red Sox, folks, because it's an exciting time. I know everybody wants to kind of get behind the Pats because it's football season, but don't forget, you have a tremendously exciting baseball team to root for. Plus, the Pats lost on Sunday. They got shut out by the Bills. So, get behind the Red Sox. Coincidentally, if you do follow the Pats hardcore, we do have a Patriots show here at the AfterBuzz Studios. That's Wednesday nights, usually around 11 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday night. So check us out. Patriots Rap 360 on that one. Check us out on that. And Sunday nights, all throughout the playoffs, we are here for Red Sox Rap 360, and we do it about around that same time, 11 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday nights. So hit us up on that. But I think that's all I got for you. I'm going a little potch, but I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in for us on another edition of Red Sox Rap 360. Oh, yeah. Cue the music, baby. Go Red Sox.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only. Do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.